This is called a confidence interval when you're being given the population standard deviation. This is the formula we're using because in this week's homework, you're being given the population standard deviation. But listen, between now and the first quiz, you gotta figure out how to recognize this one compared to the other two. There's 3 of them, and they all look alike, 3 different confidence intervals. So here's how you tell the difference. Let me show you all 3 of them. Here's the names of them, right? Come on. Look, right here. The first one's called when the population standard deviation is known. This is this one. This is why we're using Z, because the problem said the population standard deviation is. All right. Now here's the weird one. The second one says the population standard deviation is unknown. Don't let that fool you. You're still given a standard deviation, but it happens to be the sample standard deviation. And the only difference with that formula is this is the sample standard deviation instead of the population, and that Z is a T. Let me show you the formula so you can see it. Now, I want to make sure you realize you're going to hear this again because this part's not on this week's homework. This is going to be on next week's homework. So you're going to hear this again, how to tell the difference between one or the other or the third one. But what you're looking at right now, the reason we're using that T and that S stands for sample standard deviation is because we don't know the population standard deviation. Now, the problem's not going to reach out at you and say, hey, we don't know the population standard deviation. Instead, you're going to read it carefully and you're going to go, oh, this is giving me the sample standard deviation. That's when we're using this one. Let me say that again. If the problem is asking for a confidence interval and it's giving you the sample standard deviation, that's the formula. This is the hardest part for the first quiz, is determining which formula to use. So this is the key word right here. If the problem is asking for a confidence interval and it's giving you the population standard deviation, Z. That's the formula. Everybody get it? Everybody with me? It's all about reading it carefully and understanding whether you're being given the population standard deviation or the sample standard deviation. And it may not even say the sample standard deviation is. It may say, it will just leave the word population off. It will say, and the standard deviation is. And you got to look at it carefully and go, wait, did I just get told the populations or the samples? And you almost got to assume it's the samples unless it specifically says the population standard deviation is. And that's the toughest part, is these two are the ones that everybody gets mixed up. The third one's a lot easier. Right, there's the 2 hard ones. Let me go back and I'll show you the third one. The third one is called a confidence interval for population proportions. Proportions are really easy to recognize, and you'll know which formula to use. Matter of fact, let me show you the proportion formula for confidence intervals. So again, 3 confidence intervals. There's the one when the population mean is given to us using that Z. Slide 10, in case you guys are going to download that PowerPoint. Here's the second one that we just talked about. This is on slide 18. This is if we're not being given the population standard deviation, but we're being given the sample standard deviation. And now the third one that I'm just introducing you to, which is called the proportion, right there, slide 26. This is if you're given no standard deviation. That the things being talked about are just like proportions. Oh, 33% of females are going to vote this way, or 60% of males are going to vote this way, or something like that. And there's no standard deviation, but you're being asked for confidence intervals. You know it's got to be this. This is the only one you would use if there's no standard deviation. You're being asked for confidence interval. That's how you tell the 3 apart. All right. If you got this down, you made it through probably the hardest part of the first quiz. Being able to recognize which one of these to use. Because you're probably going to have all 3 of them on that first quiz. You got to know which formula goes where, to which one. And don't let me trick you. There are going to be 2 of the same one. So you know what to look for. It's all about the standard deviation.